April 26th, 1986. It started like any other morning. I looked out the window and watched people going to work. The buses were running. Families were beginning their day. I was getting ready to leave my apartment. None of us knew that just a few hours later, our city would change forever. Pripyat wasn't just a city. It was home. Nearly 50,000 people lived here. Every street had familiar faces. Every apartment held someone's memories. Children filled these sidewalks every afternoon. Neighbors greeted each other without thinking twice. Looking back now, it's hard to believe all of this disappeared in a single day.
You can see it from almost anywhere in the city. That chimney, it was always there. After a while, we stopped noticing it. To us, it wasn't dangerous. It meant electricity, jobs, a future. We trusted it completely. None of us could imagine that the place we depended on the most would soon become the reason we had to leave everything behind. Memory has a strange way of changing ordinary days into unforgettable ones.
By the 1970s, the world was entering a new era. Global electricity demand was rising faster than ever before. Cities were expanding. Industries were growing. Millions of homes needed reliable power every single day. For many governments, nuclear energy seemed to be the perfect answer. It could produce enormous amounts of electricity without burning coal or oil. Countries around the world began investing billions of dollars into nuclear technology. The United States was building new reactors. France was rapidly expanding its nuclear program. The United Kingdom, Canada, Japan, and many other nations were doing the same. The Soviet Union had no intention of falling behind. Nuclear power became more than just a source of electricity. It became a symbol of scientific achievement, technological progress, and national strength. Every new reactor represented another step toward the future. By the early 1980s, hundreds of nuclear reactors were operating across the world. Among them was one ambitious project in northern Ukraine, a power station that would soon become known around the world for a very different reason.
The Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant was built in the northern part of what is now Ukraine. At the time, however, Ukraine was not an independent country. It was one of the republics that made up the Soviet Union. During the 1970s, the Soviet government invested heavily in nuclear energy. New reactors were being built across the country to supply electricity for factories, growing cities, and an expanding industrial economy.
But choosing the right location for a nuclear power plant was never a simple decision. Engineers had to consider several critical factors. The reactors required an enormous and continuous supply of water for cooling. The site also needed vast open land for future expansion. At the same time, it had to remain connected to the national power grid, while staying far enough away from major population centers. The area near the Pripyat River met all of those requirements. On paper, it appeared to be one of the best possible locations for a project of this scale. Just 3 kilometers from the power plant, the Soviet Union built an entirely new city. Its name was Pripyat. Unlike most cities, Pripyat did not develop gradually over hundreds of years.
Every neighborhood, every road, and every apartment block was carefully planned before construction even began. The city was designed specifically for the engineers, scientists, technicians, and their families who would operate the power plant.
Modern apartment buildings quickly replaced empty fields. Schools, hospitals, supermarkets, sports facilities, cinemas, and cultural centers were all built within a few years. By the mid-1980s, nearly 50,000 people lived in Pripyat. The average resident was only 26 years old, making it one of the youngest cities in the entire Soviet Union.
For many families, moving to Pripyat represented opportunity. Stable jobs, modern housing, good salaries, a promising future. Few places symbolized Soviet technological ambition more than Pripyat.
At the heart of the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant was the RBMK-1000, a Soviet-designed nuclear reactor unlike any other in the world. Its purpose was simple: generate enormous amounts of electricity by using the heat produced during nuclear fission. Water flowed through thousands of fuel channels inside the reactor core.
As the fuel heated the water, steam was produced. That steam drove massive turbines, generating electricity for millions of people across the Soviet Union. Under normal conditions, the system could operate safely. But the RBMK reactor had several design weaknesses that were not fully understood at the time. Combined with a series of critical human errors during a late-night safety test, those hidden flaws would trigger one of the worst technological disasters in human history.
Something felt wrong. More fire trucks kept arriving. Ambulances rushed through the streets. Police officers appeared on every corner. But no one told us what had happened. Rumors spread quickly. Some said it was only a fire. Others believed it was a military accident. I looked toward the power plant. Smoke was still rising into the sky. Yet, the city carried on as usual. Then, the announcement came. We were told to leave our homes for just 3 days. Take your documents, pack a few clothes, leave everything else behind. We believed we would be back by the weekend. We never came home again.